The Bible talks about giving willingly. A willingness about giving is what really becomes honoring to the Lord and peaceful and a blessing.
I think we've just begun the conversation. It's probably the same concerns that a lot of people would have, I would think, is the budget's already pretty much set, and we give a certain amount to the church and always have, and the extra, what's the plan with that?
I need to pray a lot about it just because of financial situation and things that have come up in my life personally. So that's definitely going to play a huge part in how I decide how much I'm giving, the motivation behind why I'm giving, and just trying to keep in perspective of what does it truly mean to be sacrificial about this? What is this going to cost me in order to help other people? And just praying that I have a right attitude about it. It was a really helpful thing to look at just because it gave perfect examples. And it breaks it down into month and week and stuff like that. So it was super helpful just to keep it in perspective.
I looked at that chart and I saw how it was broken down. You could look at it yearly, monthly,
even weekly.
And weekly. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw the weekly amount, it made it look more achievable. And then after we had looked at the amount he had initially thought of, we actually moved it up. And so that's going to be a squeeze, but and a little bit scary for me, the bill payer, but we're trusting that God will honor those commitments.
It was helpful for us to come to a unity on what we felt God wanted us to do.
I think we're kind of excited about being able to walk through that with at least our oldest kid and kind of think uniquely. What do we do with these pop cans, and what do we do when they give us, the money in trade for that? What normally that just gets absorbed, or you buy something silly with it. But it's the kind of thing now where we can kind of start shaping our thinking to, maybe we don't even notice the access that we are dealing with.
There's an investment that I would like to make in some property that we have for an improvement on the property, and it's a good amount of money that I realized we're going to have to pass on that for now, if we ever get back to it.
One of the things I was thinking about was one of Pastor Jeff's comments in one of his sermons. He said, "Let me see your checkbook, and I'll see where your passions and your interests lie." And that kind of hit home for me, especially with this coming up. I can give up Netflix. I don't need it. It's a comfort type of thing. So trying to think through what does a budget look like, and how am I going to budget in order to make a sacrifice.
To me, this is an incredible opportunity to invest in heaven's cause, and I believe in this project. I believe it's going to help our church family. I believe it's going to help our outreach. It's going to help how comfortable it is in our church.
And this will directly affect her, and all of our kids eventually, that it will be a lot easier for us to get to them. Or, Charlotte's little friend Sutton that's in class who needs assistance to be able to get upstairs. It's going to be a lot easier for them to literally get from one place to the next.
To make the connection of why we sacrifice that.
One thing that I learned when I was in youth group, a saying that was going around was, if you see a need, fill a need. And that's kind of what this is about. We're seeing a need that our church family specifically has, and we need to meet it.
In the long run, if you're trusting God to be your provider, He does prove Himself in many different ways. It might be, like Marcia said, your washer works longer. It might be your kids, you see that they're going to make it through college. So a lot of things you don't see till afterwards, So I think it's a trust thing, especially when you're stepping out. But that's what faith is all about, Faith is stepping forward when you don't see exactly how it's going to work. Not that it shouldn't be given serious thought, but it can't be dictated by fear.
Creation.